We're here with the Reverend Jesse Jackson, Robert Littal of BlackSportsOnline. Thank you so much for taking out the time.
Thank you for your growing work.
Thank you. Yes. Well, just to get right into it, one of the questions that I have, and it's what everyone is talking about, Colin Kaepernick and the NFL. Can you just give us your thoughts on what Colin Kaepernick has done so far, and how do you feel the NFL has been handling the situation?
The NFL has ignored him. The commissioner's not spoken out saying he should not be, quote unquote, blackballed, as it were. But more than that, the Players Association have been so silent. It's their silence that astonishes me. Kaepernick is doing a legitimate American free protest against abusive behavior toward black people. We're disproportionate in the jails, disproportionate out of work, and not being protected by law. He's protesting that, and that's a legitimate protest. He's not the first to be engaged in a protest of this sort. He's not done anything violent, not destroying property. He's just making a statement a free American can make. He's paying the price for it, and the NFL is silent, and the players are silent. It's not fair to him.
Do you feel that the NFL shows hypocrisy in how they treat domestic violence and other illegal offenses, but when it comes to protesting and it comes to issues about race, issue about police brutality, they're either very silent on it or they try to pretend that that's not the reason that Colin Kaepernick or others have been blackballed?
That's what's striking about it, is that it's strictly a kind of owners association agreement among themselves that he will not defy the imagery of the sport with its commitment to militarism. They'll be recognizing the rise in Afghan participation at the games. They all start with Star Spangled Banner, saluting the flag. They have these flag displays, which is the patriotic thing to do. But part of what the free American can do is to protest for the right to be free. And to be free is to be able to make choices and to hold them out this long. So it's to say to the players, don't try it. The limits of, if you're going to protest race, it's off limits. Now, if you were trapped in a big drug bust, it's going to be understood. But then if certain states now made drugs legal, how do they handle it? If the law of a given state is you can smoke marijuana, if players smoke, how do you handle that? I mean, it's like extra legal activity and inconsistency. That's the point. Colin Kaepernick, he's one of the 32 quarterbacks. He's in the top 32. He does not have a job even to try out. That's wrong.
And we're seeing more NFL players now kind of speaking out about it. You've seen Michael Bennett sit for the national anthem. You saw today a bunch of Cleveland Brown players also kneeled for the national anthem. You talked about the NFLPA. Do you think the players hold a responsibility, not just the black players, but also the white players, to say, hey, this is wrong. This shouldn't be happening to someone?
If you don't like the Confederate statues up, you don't like the Confederate flag, you don't like blacks being shot in the back without consequences, well, take a stand and make America be America as it is on paper. Whether you're white or black, it's just the American, the moral and the correct thing to do. So I would urge other players to join Kaepernick, to make this, to use that platform to make that statement. It's a healthy statement for him to make.
Obviously, you've seen a lot in your lifetime.
I mean, the young women in the WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
Show more courage than the men have shown. Mm-hmm. The women have stood in solidarity, they stood together, and they're simply trying to be patriotic. When Dr. King took a position against the Vietnam War, he said he was not being patriotic. He said, I fight against the policy because I do love America. He's fighting against police brutality because he does love America. He does love freedom. He does love democracy. He's fighting a good, just person, and his humanitarian work beyond the plan field shows he's a sincere guy. Again, if you were pistol flashing, drug dealing, which is dangerous and sick, that's understandable. If he was doing something detrimental to the team, understandable. But what he's doing is a personal statement that should in fact have legs.
And like I was saying, obviously you've seen a lot in your lifetime. You've gone through a lot in your lifetime. What do you make of the current climate in our country right now? How divided do you think we are? And, with the president that we have in place right now, based off everything that you've seen in your lifetime, where do you see us at right now as a society?
At one level, I'm not sure that we're as divided as we appear to be. I think the TV has to fan a certain flame. For example, in my lifetime, I was arrested with 7 classmates trying to use a public library. We won that battle. They thought they can't get the dress in Washington, from Texas to Florida to Maryland. We couldn't use a single public toilet. We couldn't buy ice cream at Howard Johnson. We couldn't run the room at Holiday Inn. Black soldiers sat behind Nazi prisoners of war. We're a better nation than that. We didn't have the right to vote, but now we have the right to vote, and we have the law on our side. It's because we keep making progress, because America's an incomplete experiment, and I would urge us to be a part of the voting process. The pain we feel from Charlottesville, and it was killed. President Trump seemed to have felt closer to David Duke than to Heather Heyer. That's painful. It's disgusting. It's not right. I would urge Americans who care not only to express appreciation for her sacrifice, but there's an election in November in Virginia. So remember, in November, take some of these passions to polls.
And just the last question that I had for you, what can we do as an individual in the country that we're in right now, in the situation that we have? What would your advice be to an individual that feels a little hopeless and doesn't really know what to do to move forward, and how they can help change things?
Most Americans do not agree in overt white male Christian supremacy at the expense of women and other people. Most Americans do not believe in nationalism based on race over globalism. Most Americans do not believe in the KKK. They don't believe in neo-Nazism. But only when they stand up does it matter, because an organized minority is a political majority. So standing up matters. Being present matters. Rallying matters. There are more of us than them. We have more votes than they have. We have the law on our side, with the world on our side. So if you have the world on your side, and the law, and the votes, use those weapons to bring about the change that we seek. In America, we have the right to fight for the right. And so I say stand up for your rights, honor the legacy of Dr. King and Mandela, those who paid the big price, and support Kaepernick in this day. At one time, Jack Robinson would not stand with the flag. He protested because of treatment. Jim Brown stood up and fought back. There's a legacy of athletes who fight back. We honor them in the past. All the athletes today who get these huge salaries, because of Chris Flood. They're almost afraid to call his name. He sacrificed his career, put his life on the line for free agency. He said, I'm not a slave. He used free slave amendments for free agency. You don't get free agency just because you can play ball. Jim Brown could play. Kareem could play. But they didn't have free agency power. They came because somebody sacrificed. For those who sacrificed their lives and careers to make life better, let's honor them while they're alive, while they can feel it. Kaepernick should be playing football this fall. 2017, you'll be playing this fall, 2017 for somebody. Some owner must have the courage to do the right thing and get a good ball player at the same time.